Adult friendships are weird, right? Suddenly, we're not just playing outside until the streetlights come on, but now we're juggling jobs, relationships, kids, and even those group chats that we don't answer. Well, today's episode is going to be all about friendships, what we've learned, who we've lost, the expectations we set on them, how we grow and how we keep our friendships live and well, how communicating our feelings are just as important as being honest about certain situations. And I am so excited because this is one of my favorite topics. I personally have had great friendships, long friendships. I have been the terminator of friendships. I have been terminated. And I'm going to share all of those stories here because some of our closest relationships in our life, quite literally, are our friends. They always last longer than those boys do. Am I right? So why not learn how to keep them around? How to keep genuine, honest conversations, how to talk through confrontation and conflicting situations, and also to know when a friendship is ending and understand that that's okay. And sometimes they're here for a short period of time because friendships aren't always made to be forever. And if you're one of my current friends and you're tuning in, being snoopy and nosy, wondering, am I talking about you? No, girl, relax. I am going to be discussing past friends, past experiences, and some of the real life situations that I've put myself through. I am also going to be holding myself accountable and talking about things and ways I have shown up in friendships that probably weren't the best, but we have learned from, we have grown from. And I'm not sitting here roasting my girls. Most of my close friends don't even listen to the podcast, but I have a feeling a couple of them will see the title of this episode and be like, is she talking about me? So if you're laughing, listening in your car, wondering, is this about you? No, girl, it's not. It's not about you. Go listen to the other 110 episodes that I posted. Don't just tune in when you think I'm going to be talking about you, girl.
Girl, stop talking. All the shit that people are thinking but not saying. I'm not even like drunk. I've just been like drinking. Are you still talking? Girl, stop talking.
Happy fucking Monday, bitches. Okay, remember when hanging out used to be loitering outside of Walmart, Target, or Taco Bell for hours on end trying to find out where the next party was? And now we're all having to send each other fucking calendar invites 3 weeks in advance to coordinate and schedule plans. This is literally what I'm talking about. Hearing this come out of my mouth, I'm like, wow, I really am turning 30 because I cannot tell you, like, the memes are so true. When you have so much life going on, you're in a relationship, you have a job, you have kids, and you're trying to make time and space for your girlfriends. Me and one of my besties, we will be on the phone and be like, oh, can you hang out this day? No, I have something going on. Can you do like in 10 days from now? And I'm like, oh, fuck, no, I might be able to squeeze that in. Like, and I don't know about you guys, but I quite literally live by my calendar. I cannot have everything swirling up in my head. I start to get overstimulated. I get overwhelmed. And then it's like a fucking spiral landslide into the sadness. We don't want to do that. We don't want to go there. Okay. And as we get older, our friendships get harder because our life changes. This was something that was like really hard for me to comprehend in, I would say, like my mid 20s, because I, as myself, always made time for my friends and those relationships. My friends are so important to me, even when I was a younger mom with a young son. I literally, my kid, he was like the purse. He was like, let's go. Let's get on out of the house. We're going to the restaurant. We're doing the things. Like, I don't want to stop my life because I have a kid. Like, I want to continue to do things. I want to hang out with my friends. I want to make time. Was it fucking chaos? Yeah, it was. But you know what? I give myself props because I feel like a single mom, okay, I'm going on a tangent. I did not even think we were going to go here. Single mom versus mom within a relationship and has like, or parents together, so different the way they show up in their friendships. And this is speaking from my own personal experience. I was always a single mom. I would make time for my friendships. My kid came with me everywhere. What I started to notice with some of my friends who would have kids and they were together with the dad is they wouldn't want to go anywhere with their kids or unless someone else was watching them. Now, listen, valid, completely understand. You are not fully engaged in the experience with your friends when you have a toddler running around screaming, snot coming out of their nose, throwing fucking napkins at forks at someone in a restaurant. Like, I get it. But as a single mom, I didn't have another option. So I'm like, come on in, let's go. Here we go. And going into that, I think is one of the expectations that I personally held against some of my friendships because I'm like, well, I can do it, so why can't you? I haven't seen you in so long. Let's hang out. Oh, well, why don't I just come over? Like, let's be mom friends. But people have different boundaries and people want to be focused in their friendships, and I think that's fine too. So, moving in to this friendship episode, the first thing that we are going to talk about is expectations. Okay? Everybody take a deep breath. I know I need it. The silent fucking killer of friendships and relationships is having expectations. Take it from me. I know, because I have ruined and killed relationships because of my expectations for my friends. And listen, I think it comes from a good place. For myself, I will say this about myself. I know how I show up for my friends. I'm a good fucking friend. I have learned this over the years. I have also questioned this over the years. But I know how I show up for people. And I did for a long time expect them to show up the same way for me. Now, I want to be clear. I wouldn't do something with the expectation that like something specific, like they're going to do this back to me. And if they don't do this back to me, I'm going to be pissed. It's more like littler things that can be big things. So let me explain. Like showing up on time, following through with plans that you commit to. Those are just the first two. I thought I was going to have a bunch more, but I don't. We're just winging it today, okay? And, you know, I think, or even like going out of your way because you love this person, you want to hang out with them, you want to be around them. Like, I think that's how I show up a lot for my friends is like, the time is intentional, but not everybody shows up the same way you're going to show up. And so this has bitten me in the ass a lot, okay? And even with communicating, having expectations around communication, you cannot force someone to communicate with you, not even if they're upset with you. And I've struggled with that as well, where it's like, okay, I'm here, we can talk whenever you're ready. And then you don't hear anything for months or a year or something. And, it's like, that's not how I would show up for a friend. And so having those expectations had put a damper on some of those friendships in any of those categories. The best thing that I've done for myself, honestly, with expectations and having expectations is quite literally releasing them, taking a deep breath, and to be so honest, compartmentalizing my friendships, because people show you how they're going to show up for you. And you can have these best friends, you can have friends, and you can have friends in different categories of your life as long as you know how they're going to show up for you, when they're going to show up for you, and what kind of friend they are. And this isn't a bad thing. Like, I don't want this to come off as like, negative in any way. I'm just saying for myself, I know that the expectations that I have for the people in my life, and if I held everyone to the same expectation, I would have like one friend. And that would be my man. And then I'd be like, something is wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Where do all my fucking friends go? Maybe I am the problem. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, what I have learned that has worked so good for myself is understanding that not everybody is going to be able to show up the way that you want them to show up or how you would show up for them. And I think the best thing about being a good friend is you have to feel good about how you're showing up for people. So I know in my heart and my soul, I am always going to show up for my friends in the way that I show up for them. It's probably really fucking annoying for them, honestly. I can just see their head shaking right now. Yep. No, because I require a lot of attention. I like to talk. I like to talk on the phone. I like to text. Like, I'll be freaking texting all the time. I do random FaceTime. So I'm not an Apple anymore. So all my friends are lucky. I just can't pop in with the FaceTime anymore. I gotta like secretly download Google Meet on their phones. But I know for myself that like I'm going to continue to show up the way that I want to show up, and I have released the expectations for people to show up exactly how I want them to show up for me. Now, I would have hopes that the people who say they love and care about me would show up in the best way that they can possible, but I have learned that most people don't even know how to fill up their own cup. Like, so how are they going to be able to fill up yours? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's understandable, but you have to be able to like put yourself in the other person's shoes. And this goes with like any relationship, honestly. And I think the one thing that's helped me so much is just compartmentalizing my friendships. Like, maybe this person is going through something right now, and maybe they can't pick up the phone every time you call because they're like sobbing every night and they just don't want to have to answer the "are you okay? What's going on?" question. And that's okay, you know? Or maybe they have kids and they can't hang out all the time and they don't want to prioritize, or they don't have a babysitter, but they also want to like prioritize genuine friendship connection when they're with their friends. And so that's difficult for them, and that's okay too. But this has helped me so much because I know that I can sit back and I can go to bed at the end of each night and be like, I'm a good friend and I show up and I answer the phone, and I have those people too. And we're all literally just trying to figure it the fuck out. So now let's get into what you guys think the hardest part about maintaining adult friendships is. This listener said, allowing people to grow into who they are when it's not who you thought they were. Woo! That one is on point. And again, like that goes right into holding expectations for the people in our life. It's like you see the greatness in someone and they're going down the wrong path or self-sabotaging, or they're just not ready to be held to that standard, or they're not ready to accept whatever's going on in their life and wanting to change it. And that's okay, because girl, that's none of your fucking business. But that is hard. That was a good one. Okay. Balancing schedules and finding time, scheduling time to see each other. Yes, this can be so difficult. And the advice that I have for this is like, if this person is your true friend, they will make the time. Whether it's in 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months, there will be scheduled time. They will follow up. They will text you back. And if someone's giving you the bare minimum, if there's a friend giving you the bare minimum or blaming you or making excuses, this is so cliche, but actions speak louder than words. We all know this. We've all heard it before. And so people will literally show you how they're going to show up for you. If they're not doing the things that they say that they're going to do, you then get to decide, is this worth my time? Am I wasting time here? Does this person actually care about me in the way that I care about them? Are they going to show up for me the way that I would show up for them? Because if someone is constantly bailing, constantly making excuses, or worst case scenario, projecting and like blaming you, because that shit happened to me. Like, you have to listen truly to what people are saying. And sometimes people don't know. Most people do not know how to hold themselves accountable for their actions, but instead will project how they feel or what's going on with them onto someone else because they're not able to hold themselves accountable. They're not able to be like, dang, did I really put myself in this position? Am I the one that's not showing up for this friend? And then, and have I blamed her so long for not showing up for me? I mean, it sounds wild, but girl. Okay, some of the other things. Long distance. Oh my God. Okay, I gotta share a story. I've talked about this on my Instagram before. Long distance friendships can be so difficult. However, there's still no excuse because you could talk to your long distance best friend just as much as you talk to anyone else. One of my best friends, Amanda, shout out because she was just on an episode and I know she loves a good shout out. We met when I was her lash artist. We met almost nearly 10 years ago. I would see her every 2 weeks for lash appointments. We only hung out outside of lashing, I think maybe 3 times before she moved to Texas. This was probably like 2.5 years into us knowing each other, being friends, being like acquaintances as like a lash artist, lash client relationship. One of the last times we hung out was the night before she was moving to Texas. And I didn't expect this, but her moving away actually made us closer as friends. And I feel like right now, like this last year, we're like closer than ever because we show up the same way for each other, which is so great when you find a friendship where that happens, where they're going to answer your call when you call, and even if they don't, they're going to follow back up. That like they're going to support you, that they're going to listen to your rants, that, you can just rely on them. And although it can be hard because you obviously want to spend time with this person and you don't always get the chance to do that, I think like having the connection is sometimes like all we really need. It's like, yeah, and then you get to set like this intentional time when you do see them. Listen, I have a long distance man. I have a long distance friend. Like this actually works out really good for me because the time is intentional. Like you don't get stuck in this like rut where it's like, oh, you're seeing a friend all the time. And you're like, oh my God, they're always around, whatever. I actually think it's better. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. I don't know. I've noticed if it's hard to maintain, then they aren't your people. Honestly, yeah. And that just goes right in with how people are going to show up for you. Because why do you want to be a friend with someone if they're not going to be a friend to you? We waste a lot of time on that. We don't have fucking time for that. When the status quo changes, the friendship changes, and some friendships don't survive. Oh, that is very poetic, girl. I'm curious, like, I'm not really sure what she means by the status quo. Like, I feel like that can mean anything, as far as, like, untraditional relationships or, I think that's the first thing that comes to my head, an untraditional relationship. But again, like, if someone's going to be a hater, you don't want them to be a friend anyways. To answer the question about maintaining adult friendships, I would say that I'm the kind of person who needs what I call low maintenance friends. This means we can catch up and get together when we can. I understand we all have busy lives and shit going on. I don't take it personal if we aren't speaking daily. I just can't do that needy shit. But I am a down-ass friend you can call at any point or time if needed, and I'll show the fuck up. Those are the people that I want. Honestly, girl, that's so real. And I think it's like so important to communicate that to friends. And see, I'm a needy bitch. I am yeah, no, I'm a fucking needy friend, to be so for real. Like, I don't need to be hanging out all the time, but like, I enjoy phone calls. I feel like my brain is always going. So I love talking and just getting on the phone with a friend. I mean, this is why I love podcasting so much, is because you're just like listening to people talk. It soothes my brain more than like music or something. I feel like I can disconnect and focus on a conversation. And I think that's why like I enjoy phone calls and talking to my friends so much. But again, I have my phone call friends. I know what friends are going to pick up the phone if I need to call, or if I just want to vent or rant, or like I'm just literally bored. And even though we were texting 3 seconds ago, I'm just going to call you to see what you're doing. But then I also have the friends, like the low maintenance friend, where it's like, if I call and they don't answer, I get a follow-up text or like, hey, is everything okay? Like, what do you need? Like, I know that I have these low maintenance friends that will still show up when I need them. Okay, this is a great follow-up. Finding friendships that reciprocate the same energy, effort, and intentionality is so difficult. Especially as an adult, we are all busy with life and families, but to always be the person that goes above and beyond for your friends, even when you're burnt out, and to not have those same people show up for you when you need them is defeating. These types of friendship cause me to overthink every interaction and question myself, like, am I being too needy or emotional? Did I do or say something wrong the last time we hung out, etc.? And this just goes back to like communication. I think you have to understand like how people truly are going to show up for you, because I get that too. I feel this. Like I want my friends to show up the way that I'm going to show up for them, and the compartmentalizing my friendships has helped so much, because I know that I guess now I'm realizing I am a needy friend. But I'm fine with that, because I have people in my life that don't make me feel needy. I have friends that are showing up for me the same way that I would show up for them. And I think like as an adult, that can be so difficult, especially navigating new friendships. And I think sometimes, listen, if you are trying to like have a real friendship with someone, all relationships come down to communication. I don't think there's anything wrong with telling a friend like how you feel if you feel like you're always showing up for them and they're not showing up for you. But again, you have to listen to what they're saying to you, like what the response is, because you shouldn't have to pour into an empty cup, especially when you're in a relationship, you have kids. But I understand wanting that fun female friendship where you guys both show up for each other and like you get each other and you know that they're going to be there for you. And at the end of the day, like you just have to look at people's actions. And sometimes you might have to change the way you show up for friends. Like meet them where they're meeting you. Stop putting so much time and energy into like doing the most and going out of the way if it's quite literally killing you. If it makes you feel good, if you walk away from that being like, I feel so great, I know how I show up, and I do this because it makes me feel good, then I think that's the right answer. But if you're like doing it and to expect something else into return, that's when you're gonna like feel drained and feel like you're being too needy. And sometimes you just can't control how other people are. I've had friendships where me and the friend were so close, like close enough that I thought that she would be the maid of honor at my wedding. And then out of what to me seemed like out of nowhere, it switched up. And it was like, I started feeling like, am I being too needy now? Like, am I being crazy? And I learned once that friendship ended that, well, I have my own thoughts about it, but I came to the conclusion that I truly think that that friend had built up some resentments in our friendship and she never discussed them with me. And so then that left her wanting to pull away, and it left me wanting to give more and to continue to show up and to continue to be the same way. And I think for her, it felt very overbearing. And for me, I'm like, I'm just showing up how I always show up. I don't understand. And now I'm being like exiled as a friend. And that was painful. And it sucked. It fucking sucked, because I'm like, this friendship quite literally, it was uncomfortable for a while. until I was like, okay, I have to say something about it. And I ended up, I'll just like give you some tea because I literally got ghosted and I haven't heard from her since. But I ended up sending her a text and I was like, hey, I really care about our friendship. I know things have been weird over the last couple of months. And like, I value our friendship and I want to know, like, is there something that I did wrong? Because I feel XYZ about the situation. And, I would love to like have a conversation with you. We don't even have to meet up in person. Like, if we could just have a conversation on the phone. And I quite literally never heard from her again. Which is like so insane to me. But again, like going back to people are going to tell you how they're going to show up for you. You can't force people to be vulnerable, which, I mean, there's nothing that I could do about that. No notes, It didn't hurt as bad as I thought it would because I think things were like so rocky and there was like a lot of emotional turmoil at that point. But it definitely was pretty crazy to think that we were so close and she just did not care enough to ever respond. It was just like, nope, I'm done. Goodbye. And that shit hurts, It's like the friendship breakups truly do hurt, but you can't force people to be your friend. And why would you want to? This listener wrote in, and this is a story time about a time that she realized this person was no longer a friend and her drinking got in the way of having a healthy friendship. This is what she said. Cutting off a friend and setting boundaries. This person and I had to stop being friends. She was mentally and physically draining me. To paint the picture, she drinks at least a bottle of wine a day or a 12-pack of White Claws. It became a thing where every time she was drunk, she'd scream at me about how shitty of a friend I was or how I was the root of all of her problems. But in the morning would forget and wouldn't want to talk about the night before. One night, she was drunk and lost her ID. She called me at the bar screaming about how I took it and I didn't want her to have fun. I hung up. Then she blew up my phone with like 8 texts about how shitty of a friend I am, etc. For the first time, I had text proof that she was crazy because every time before it had happened in person and she wouldn't remember or wouldn't want to talk about it the next day. So she read them all and apologized. I made it a point to point out that I wasn't a shitty friend and that I needed space because my feelings were hurt again. I gave it a week or so and told her that I didn't want to drink around her or be her friend when she drinks or be around her when she drinks because it was just draining. For the next 4 or 5 months, I kept my distance at social gatherings because I didn't want the root of her lash outs again. I didn't want to be the root of her lash outs again. On St. Patrick's Day this year, a group of 25 or 30 of us got together for a spring training game and bar crawl after. My first time drinking around her in months at this point. Little did I know she was already mad at me because my best friend and I had excluded her from the pregame. Before these plans, we both had therapy, skipped the pregame completely. The drunk friend just assumed that we were doing something without her. Anyways, she blacks out before we can even say hi at the game. I stood up. I said, I have free will and I'm leaving. Good for you, sister. It was at that moment I decided my friendship with her was done. I was done being disrespected whenever she had alcohol in her system. After that, the next day, we had a sober conversation about it, and I told her that she didn't respect me as a person or a friend, and I needed space. Since then, she's reached out a few times, and I'm not interested in being friends anymore. Then I heard 2 or so months later, she was trying to rekindle our friendship because she didn't want to not be invited to the summer functions. Oh my God. Because I host and cook for all of the friend get-togethers. That one hurt. I didn't know it at the time, but reflecting a few months later, I realized how draining the friendship was. It's been months now. We see each other every once in a while at group outings, but she hasn't changed at all. Moral of the long story, sometimes people literally need to yell at you for you to realize your worth in a friendship. I realized mine and I haven't looked back. The boundary I set and I continue to set have made the friendships I have currently stronger than ever. Wow. I hate that. I hate that, especially if it was like a really good friend or you guys had at some point a really close relationship. This happened to me, like similar to me with a friend, and um this friend was like a big part of my life for like a very specific part of my life. And I thought like, and we were close and connected, and our families were close and connected. And I actually had a lot of help in my earlier 20s, like with her and her family. And it also got to the point where she was drinking and blacking out and like driving. And I would tell her like, girl, you can't drink and drive. Like that's scary. Like she would tell me stories about not remembering when she got home. And, there was like another story where she said she threw up in her center console of her car and just like all these crazy things. And I remember we went out one night and it was like very similar. We went out, she got wasted, and then she got mad at me for something. I can't even remember. She wanted to leave. Again, she's like screaming at me in my face. And I was just sitting there like taking it. Because when like people are so drunk at that point, you're like, it doesn't matter what I say right now. It's not going to be like conceptualized. It's not going to be like listened to. And so I just like sat there letting her scream at me. And then she was supposed to stay at my house. She didn't want to stay at my house anymore. Or maybe we were stopping by my house. I can't remember. Either way, she was trying to drive home. And I'm like, girl, you're not driving home. She's like, you can't tell me what to do. So I snatched her keys out of her hand from her. And I'm like, I have an Uber on the way. Let's go back to your house. Like, you're not driving home. Leave your car here. I'll pay for an Uber in the morning so you can get your car. She was like, you can't do that. Give me my keys, whatever. We end up getting in the Uber. And this was like where I was like, whoa. Like, it was already bad enough being like screamed at in my face. This is all coming back to me. This is so wild. We're sitting in the backseat of the Uber. She's like still screaming at me. And this poor fucking Uber driver, oh my God. And she's like, give me my keys. Give me my keys. I'm getting out of the car. We're on the freeway, bro. And she opens the door to try to get out of the car. And I'm like pulling her back in. The Uber driver like locks the doors. I'm like, girl, no, what are you doing? Like, we're going back to your house. And then she like tried to shove me up. At this point, I literally got physically assaulted. She tried to shove me up against the car door in the Uber to get her keys back. And I was holding them from her because like the behavior was erratic. She's trying to drink and drive drunk. Like, well, duh, drink and drive. That's what it means. You're drunk. And then she's like opening the car door on a freeway while we're in an Uber going back to her house. And I'm just like looking out for her safety. She like shoves me in the car. I end up having to like hold her and brace her down. And I'm like, you need to calm down. This is insane. Like, we're going back to your house. You need to stop. And then that whole night we sat the whole rest of the time we sat in silence. I ended up staying at her house, gave her her keys back when we got there. And the next morning she was still pissed off at me as if I did something wrong. And I think I remember asking her, like, do you want to talk about it? I think we should talk about this. Like, and it was still just like not even holding herself accountable for anything because she had a different story built up in her head. And I think that was like one of the last times that we had hung out. We started creating distance from each other because of that same reason. It's like you can't rationalize things when someone's wasted. And it's like, girl, I was trying to save you from hurting yourself or someone else. And that sucks because we were really close for a long time. And, you can't change people. And, that's the sad truth, even with friendships. And those friendship breakups sometimes can be so much harder than anything else because we don't expect to lose our friends. We expect them to like be there always. Listen, we all know adult friendships are hard, but the key to having close, long-lasting friendships is truly having open and honest communication, being vulnerable, and showing up and being there for when that person needs you. That's really what it comes down to. Once we can realize that we just want to be close to people, everything else truly just starts to fall away. It's not always about being right. It's having some self-awareness and understanding where the other person is coming from. Being able to have those difficult conversations because you value the person in the friendship more than you value being right. Adult friendships aren't about who you've known the longest. They're about the friends that are still clapping for you as you evolve. That's going to wrap up today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and hang in there after the soundbite outro because I have a little blooper reel for you guys. This episode was really difficult for me to make. I think I'm in my head a little bit. I didn't want to take my own personal experiences and have anyone like upset with what I had to say. And so I hope you were still able to grab some value out of this episode. Thanks to everyone who wrote in. Please continue to engage. You guys know I love it. And share this to a friend. Drop a comment in the YouTube. Get these dusty ass men out of my comments. Drop a comment on Spotify, wherever you listen. 5 stars on iTunes. And if you're not subscribed to the podcast on YouTube, go subscribe at Girl Stop Talking Podcast.
Are you still talking? Girl, stop talking.
And the last time that we were hanging out, oh my God, this is not going good. Why am I so nervous? How she had to take fucking 4. So, fuck, I literally just forgot what I was saying. God, I'm literally sweating. People are literally going to show you how they're showing up for you. What? People will literally show you how they're going to show up for you. Then you get to decide, are they telling me fucking take 16? No, I'm literally in my own head right now. It's really getting in the way of talking about this episode.